You're listening to Afterhours FM.
Hey guys,
Hi guys,
welcome back to After Hours FM.
and happy Halloween.
Ooh. Today we are spooky themed,
We are our Nightmare Before Christmas
matching sweaters.
for the people who can't see who are just listening. Today we're presenting you with our Halloween special.
Yeah,
It's going to be true crime style.
yeah, and guys, this is some terrifying shit. And the thing is, like, I don't even really know what this is about.
But that's the point.
Yeah,
That's the point cuz now she's going to be shot. You're going to get her first hand.
reaction.
Yup.
And probably you and I are in the same boat.
Yeah, I did my research. I used to be a true crime freak. I'm still a true crime freak. And I feel like it's only fitting for our first episode to be about Jeffrey Dahmer. And also with the whole Netflix series that's not new by any means. We I feel like it's on brand for us.
Yeah, it would be an interesting controversy to talk about because
Yeah.
I do know about all of the like controversies, but I don't know what exactly Jeffrey Dahmer is about because I've never seen the show, never even learned anything about him. All I know is that he was played by Ross Lynch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that people were like romanticizing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so watch our first episodes about problematic tropes in Twilight to maybe find out why that is bad. But
Yeah.
yeah, for today we're gonna actually learn about him and what he did.
Yep. So, trigger warning, it's not going to be pretty. But let's get into it.
I'm scared.
Okay. So the first part of this episode is going to be truly in true crime style. I'm just going to tell you about Jeffrey Dahmer's life and what he did.
I'm scared.
So, spoiler alert, he had 17 victims.
Are they all women?
No, they're all men.
Wait! This changes things.
He was gay.
Wait, what?
Yup. I thought you knew this.
Girl, no.
Yeah,
Wait,
he's gay.
okay,
He's
gay men
But they
in-
were sexually motivated, driven.
Okay, but at least it's not women this time.
That is true.
Not to say that this is right by
That's
any
a crazy
means.
statement, by the way.
But I'm just super surprised that it's not women. I was
Yeah.
so sure it was.
No. Not this
Okay.
time. Not this time. A lot of times it is, though. So let's start with the beginning.
Giraffe.
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 Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, born May 21st, 1960.
A Taurus.
Damn, you're quick with that. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, US of A.
Okay.
He was all this is also low-key spoiler. He was also called the Milwaukee Cannibal.
I don't like that.
Sorry.
Guys, we're recording this late at night.
It's not that late.
Girl, it's 10
al-
p.m.
Yeah, 10:30 almost.
It's 10:30.
Yeah.
It's bedtime.
It's bedtime. We're gonna do something fun after this. Okay.
Therapy.
So, he's not necessarily. You can't look at my notes because then you're.
I'm
gonna
not
see
looking.
spoilers.
I'm just
Oh, okay.
my eyes drift towards the iPad because I'm just addicted to iPads.
Okay, well that's something you should discuss with somebody. So I feel like with a lot of serial killers, as the true crime junkies know, they are abused in a certain way by their parents. I'm not saying that justifies anything, but it makes it a little bit more understandable.
Mm.
Jeffrey was not abused in the sense that you'd expect with any, like, he wasn't beaten or physically harmed, or even like nobody cussed him out or stuff. Like, it wasn't like that.
Bless.
Not to say that his childhood was easy in any way, but it in that sense differs from other serial killers.
Oh.
So his dad, Lionel Herbert Dahmer, was a chemist whose occupation kept him away from home a lot, and his mom, Joyce Annette Dahmer, was a teletype machine instructor. But what most shaped Dahmer was that she was a hypochondriac and very depressed. She required constant attention,
Yeah.
and she was on medication, and it was really The whole combination of his dad being away from home a
Yeah.
lot and his mom requiring so much attention was it made him very he was a very lonely kid.
Yeah, I can't even
Yeah,
imagine.
he was. Yeah, it's pretty sad. So he was loved by both parents, but he did display signs of abandonment issues at an
Oh.
early age. He was quiet in school, he didn't have many friends. Yeah,
Oh.
that's sad.
Jeff.
Jeff, bro. From an early age though, he showed an interest in dead animals, which is so
How early are we
serial killer.
talking?
Um, I don't know the exact age,
Okay.
but I think just when he was a kid, because I know I remember this from the show, and I think I also watched the Jeffrey Dahmer tapes, and there he also talked about how his dad one time cleaned up a dead animal from somewhere, and Jeffrey showed interest in that. Like he just asked
Mm.
questions about the bones and stuff, and his dad, who was a chemist, he liked this because he thought his son was,
Yeah. Oh,
being interested. Yeah,
biology.
exactly. So and yeah, my later like he there's something on the Wikipedia, and he said I think that this was also mentioned in the tapes where Jeffrey one time over dinner asked a chemistry question about bones. What would
Oh.
happen if you bleach chicken bones? And that's also, his dad was really happy that he showed an interest, and he taught him about it. What would happen.
I'm
And
cracking up.
yeah, dude. So they did that, and he showed him how to bleach and preserve these bones. This is important. Keep this in mind.
Oh no, I don't want to keep this in
I'm
mind.
sorry, Queen. So again, now Dahmer, who reached high school, he was seen as an outcast, oh, this says class clown. I don't know about that. I think that was on Wikipedia, and I don't believe that. But he
Oh,
was seen as
okay.
an outcast, and his his teachers and the people who knew him did describe him as a very like kind, polite boy.
Mm.
So nobody really had any like negative things to say, but he wasn't popular by any means.
Okay.
He also in high school started drinking a lot, alcohol abuse.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's tough. That's
Um
tough.
yeah. And he earned average grades, which
Okay.
did go downhill eventually because of his alcohol abuse.
Okay, makes sense.
So when he reached puberty, he discovered that he was gay, and he
Represent.
represent dude, and he did.
Don't represent. He's not a representation of the gay community.
Oh, right, no, not represent, but he did have a short gay relationship with another young boy, and
Me,
they like
a short
what?
gay relation.
That's what it says.
That's so funny.
Well, they didn't do anything crazy, but they just, it was cute, it was fun. Then he began fantasizing about dominating and controlling somebody completely, like a completely submissive partner who didn't say it or do anything, no demands,
Oh.
nothing. Um and these fantasies gradually intertwined with dissection of the body. So,
Gulp.
let us
I
continue.
gulped.
So also his parents in this time, his parents' marriage was declining, and it was not holding on by thread. It was not
Oh
good
man.
cuz and then his parents started attending counseling. They were fighting a lot. It was not peaceful in that house, and then eventually Lionel discovered that Joyce had a short affair with somebody else. Yeah, and so
Damn.
they got divorced, and it was
Divorce, babe.
yeah, literally. It was a pretty turbulent divorce because Lionel, he went and sought refuge in some motel. He left home, and Joyce randomly, she just left. She moved she moved with his younger brother, cuz he had a younger brother,
No.
David, to live with relatives. At this
Yo,
point Dahmer
why?
had just turned 18 though. He had just graduated.
Okay, but why the fuck wouldn't she take her other son? Did she think
I don't
he was weird?
No, 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 no. There's nothing about that. Like it
Okay.
always said that his parents were very loving. I don't think it was about that. But
Yeah, super loving
he just
after
but
they left him.
Lionel didn't know though that she left, or that like they didn't know that Dahmer was alone in that house.
Well, she knew.
She knew, but I thought, I don't know if I made a mistake in my notes, or Lionel came back or something. No, he didn't come back though. That's not true.
Oh.
But the point is, Lionel thought Lionel thought that he was with Joyce, pretty much. He
Okay.
didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what Joyce thought. Honestly, Joyce was a little bit.
Questionable. Well, they're
She
both
had some
questionable, but
issues though, some other issues that she was working through. So
oh
I
my
feel like
god.
she's not a very
Oh.
reliable source. Then this is where it starts. So 3 weeks after graduation, keep in mind this boy was 18 years old. There was always this hitchhiker, and he was shirtless, and he was going to a concert, and Dahmer found him very attractive,
Oh my god. I'm
and
scared.
he picked him up to go have a beer with him at
I
his
will
house.
never, ever, ever hitchhike.
Do not ever hitchhike.
Oh
I
my
beg.
god.
Don't hitchhike.
Don't.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But yeah, he picked up this hitchhiker whose name was Stephen Mark Hicks, who was also 18 years old, to
Oh.
drink beers at his house. So they did. But then eventually Stephen had to leave because he had to go to this concert. His friends were waiting
Mm.
on him. But Dahmer didn't like that he had to leave. So he struck him with a 4.5 kilogram dumbbell and then strangled him to death. Um,
Pause. Was so that was his first murder.
yes.
And you know what I find crazy about this is like, okay, if I were to go hitchhiking and I was 18 and a man, I would
I was
not,
about to say.
yeah, I would not, never like be suspicious about another 18-year-old man
Yeah.
helping me because that would be like, oh, we're the same age, like, oh, it's safe, you know. It just feels safer. Like if I were to go now and I saw an 18-year-old woman, I'd feel super safe. Oh, I'd feel relatively safe.
Also, you don't expect somebody to
Murder you.
even think about anything like
No,
this.
and this is such a crazy thing because of course you never want to like think this about somebody, but you also have to be careful always.
Of course,
But
of
I'm just
course.
like, how do you know when to trust someone, guys? How
You
do you know?
don't. You
How do you
don't,
know?
unfortunately.
No, I trust you.
Never let them know you know something.
No.
But yeah, he this is not the end of it, by the way. He dissected his body in the basement, buried him in his family home backyard,
Oh my god.
and then weeks later dug the remains back up, cut the flesh off of the bones, dissolved the flesh in acid, and flushed it down the toilet, and then crushed the bones with a sledgehammer and scattered them in the woodland behind the family home.
How did they find out about this? Did he confess?
He said everything.
Oh,
Yeah. He
because this
was
sounds like something that like, oh, you committed a crime, now you gotta cover it up, and then
he did cover it up, and but eventually when he got arrested years and years later, he I don't know whether he was remorseful. I mean, I don't want to make a verdict, but
I doubt
he was
it.
honest about everything. Like he
Okay.
was honest, and
Unashamed.
he did say when he was arrested, like, why don't you just kill me now? Like he did think
Mm.
that he deserved punishment,
Yeah, or
for sure.
yeah, okay.
And also a reoccurring theme with his murders and why he did it, which you can clearly hear in the tapes, is that he just said that he didn't want them to leave. That was the main
Oh.
thing. He wanted them to stay.
Well, I mean, clearly he had crazy abandonment history
Yeah,
with his
yeah.
father leaving first, his mother second, and her taking his brother, but not him. I mean, that's
Hmm.
crazy to go through, of course.
Yeah, and
Like, it explains it, doesn't justify it.
and that it was pretty sad because he in the tapes. I'm again no compassion whatsoever, but he said like, "Oh, I wanted some company. I just wanted somebody to talk to," like that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was it was also rooted definitely, and he also, which was interesting to me, he also said this himself, it was also rooted in some messed up, sick sexual drive that's clearly not normal, but also in feelings of loneliness. The loneliness, though, he didn't explicitly mention, he just said he didn't want people to leave. The sexual thing he did know, but everybody
Mm.
around him, people said like that's like the loneliest guy I've ever met.
Oh man.
Yeah. So then later, Lionel got home and found out about Jeffrey's alcohol abuse, and that he was enrolled in university, but then he flunked out because of his alcohol abuse. And so his dad encouraged him to join the army. So he did.
The place to be.
Yup. And he served for around a year and 8 months. And then he was,
That's pretty long.
yeah. And then but he was discharged honorably, though. But he was discharged
Yeah.
because he was deemed unsuitable for military service due to his alcohol abuse yet again.
Oh, okay. So he was still abusing alcohol.
Yes,
Okay.
that's a constant thing.
Okay.
Um, and then eventually, after staying in a motel for a bit because he was a little bit ashamed to go home after that, he went back to his dad's house. Then the alcohol abuse continued, and he was arrested for being drunk and disorderly conduct, and then he was sent to live with his grandmother.
Why?
Uh
Poor grandmother, first of all.
well, his
Oh
grandma
Lord.
loved him, and she was a kind of, well, good influence. I don't know, she was religious. And so Dahmer, which was so interesting, he like
Became religious?
he well, not yet, but he
Okay.
like supported her, and they talked about the Bible, and it was like cute and all.
Okay.
It's not cute if you know what he did, but it started off cute, I guess. Um
Subtle foreshadowing.
yeah. Then he he began to regularly frequent bathhouses, which where he did like
Bathed.
he bathed and he engaged in sexual encounters.
Damn, really?
Yeah,
I
but
thought
that
that
was
was just a
normal.
stereotype.
No, I think that was like a for real thing. Like,
Oh my god.
yeah.
Okay.
But then he became frustrated at his partners moving during the act.
In the in the sense that he just wanted them to like stay still.
Yeah, he said
It's giving necrophilia.
he was diagnosed with necrophilia. He said, I trained myself to view people as objects of pleasure instead of as people. After his arrest, he said that.
All right. It's giving. You know what? It's giving how men think about women. But he
That's
thought that way
true.
about people in general. So,
hmm And then he started administering sleeping pills to his partners, giving them liquor laced with
oh,
sedatives,
oh.
and then he would wait for his partner to fall asleep before performing sexual acts.
Okay, somnophilia.
Girl necrophilia. He wanted literally them to play dead.
Yeah, true. But like when you are into the idea of the person sleeping, it's
But
somnophilia.
that was not the thing he
But
was
that was
into,
yeah,
I
true.
fear.
Yeah, he was just being into his partner being
But then
unconscious.
people found this out, and then his bathhouse membership was revoked.
Bless.
Then, then came his second murder. He killed Stephen Tuomi. However, he said that there was no intention to kill him because they just went to a hotel and they drank a lot, and he blacked out, and then he woke up the next morning with just
A
bru-
dead guy.
yeah, he was dead, and he had bruises on his chest, and he had bruises on his fists and stuff, and he like well, not accidentally, but like while blacked out, killed the guy. And then he obviously, and you could tell that it was not intended because they only were staying for one night, but then he had to extend his stay for another night because he had to get rid of the body.
Yeah.
Um, so then he went and bought a suitcase, and then he brought the suitcase to the hotel, and then he put the body in the suitcase.
Imagine a cleaner would have come in.
I was also thinking about that, but I guess not. Maybe he had the
Do
do
not
not disturb
disturb.
sign. And then he took a cab to his house, to his grandma's house, mind you. And then while the taxi driver was putting the suitcase, this was so interesting to me. He put the suitcase in the trunk, and then he said something like, "Wow, it looks like you got a dead body in here because it was so heavy."
Not fun. Not so funny now, is
It's not
it?
so funny now. And then he brought the suitcase to grandma's house, and then he again did
Yeah, but
his.
like that suitcase would have been like how much does a man weigh? Like an adult man, like 80 kilograms.
Yeah, but he was pretty strong, I guess.
Yeah, but the taxi driver.
Oh right, yeah,
Like,
yeah. It
hello, if a
was.
suitcase is 80 kilograms, it's like 15 or 20 on
Yeah,
average,
true.
right?
But I feel like
That's
not
crazy.
my circus, not my monkey. I thought he just thought that.
I guess,
Because
yeah. I would have never brought
why
it
would you
up.
assume that?
And why would you, if you think someone is a serial killer and you're about to drive them somewhere, why would you mention it?
Literally.
Because that would, you would be, you would be manifesting your own death.
Yeah, it was literally crazy. And then he brought him to grandma's house, which is diabolical, by the way, because grandma was in the house.
Oh,
And then
grandma.
he had the basement. I know. And that's where he like dismembered, crushed, boiled, whatever, the body parts. Yep.
All of the above?
All of the above. He even used the skull for masturbation, but then eventually he had to dispose of it because the bleach made it brittle. He wanted to save it, but he couldn't because he didn't bleach it correctly or something, and it became
Can I ask
fragile.
how he used this skull for masturbation?
I don't know. You could ask. I don't know the answer. I
Okay.
didn't really look into that. I don't really want to know,
Yeah.
but
You know what? I'm
I
glad.
think
Yeah,
just to
I don't
look
need to
at
know that.
though,
Oh, I thought, but then why would it become brittle?
because he bleached it because he wanted to preserve it, and he wanted to keep
Yeah.
it clean. Like he wanted to get all the skin and everything off of it. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't really want to think about how he used
Okay,
this.
yeah, let's move on.
And then this was kind of the moment where he stopped trying to suppress his desires and everything.
Well, yeah, because I feel like once you murder, that door has been opened. I don't think that door
Yeah.
can close
I mean,
easily. I think it can. I think it can.
after the hitchhiker, he tried though.
Yeah, and I think that everyone obviously should be encouraged to seek therapy and seek help. I think
For
anyone can be
sure.
healed, but I understand that he felt like there was no
Hmm.
return at this point.
Yeah, and then 2 months after this incident with Tuomi, he killed the 14-year-old prostitute, which is a sad sentence in itself.
Whoa.
Yeah, James Dockstader, who was drugged and strangled. That was his MO. That's what he did to most of his victims. He would drug them, make them fall asleep, make them unconscious, do whatever, and then he would strangle them and then do some more.
A 14-year-old
Yeah.
prostitute.
And this happened in grandma's house. He did the same thing with the skull, and the same issue occurred of it becoming too brittle, and he had to dispose of it. Another 2 months later, he killed Richard Guerrero,
How old was he?
22.
Okay.
Again, drugged and
How old
strangled.
was Jeffrey at this point?
Jeffrey, that's a great question. Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. He was 27
Or
or
26?
26. Um, yeah. Um,
Okay, 26 murder. Okay, yeah.
and this is where he really started acting with on his necrophilic desires,
Oh
if you
lord.
will.
Oh lord.
Um, and then in September of 1988, his grandmother did ask him to move out, which was mostly because of his drinking and his habit of bringing young men to her house at night, and the foul smells emanating from the basement and the garage. Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. So then he moved into his own place,
Mm.
but then like 2 days later,
But
he
what was
was,
his job?
dude, I don't even really know. I read about this,
Okay.
but I forgot.
Okay, whatever. This is not about his employment. This is about his other hobby.
Yeah, what was it? It allowed him to have free time though.
Okay.
Maybe at a bar, but
Hmm,
I'm not
okay.
certain about it. But then he moved into his own place, and then 2 days later, he got arrested for drugging and sexually fondling a 13-year-old boy who he had lured to his home on the pretext of posing nude for photographs, which was also something that was he he did that with most of his victims after this. He would lure them to
After.
his house saying, I want to take photos of you for money.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then he was convicted and also enlisted as a sex offender.
Well, yes, and also should have been pedophile,
Yeah,
but
well, yeah.
yeah.
And then shortly later, he killed Anthony Sears, who was 24. He was an aspiring model. Again, drugged and strangled.
An aspiring model.
Hmm. He skinned the corpse, and this is the first victim from who he permanently retained body parts. He preserved the head and the genitalia in acetone. Not good.
Wait, the skin as well?
Um, no, he didn't. He didn't preserve.
Just the bones,
No, those parts he kept intact. I'm assuming.
completely.
Probably.
Oh lord.
Yeah.
Wait, skinned the patient?
Skinned the
The
guy.
patient. The
The corpse,
victim.
girl. The
The
corpse.
corpse. He skinned it?
Yeah.
Did he do that before? Did I miss that?
What do you mean?
Like skin.
He did that. He's done that before. But I don't know if it's the same way because they didn't say skinned for Stephen. What was his last name? Hicks. But they said they removed his skin from the bones. But skinning is different. Because removing the
Yeah.
skin from the bones leave the bones alone without anything on. But then skinning is only the top part.
Oh.
Don't be asking these questions because then you're gonna get these type of answers.
Yeah, but we gotta get the full story here.
True. And then also because when he was convicted for the thing with the 13-year-old boy, between the time he was convicted and sentenced, there was a period of time, and that's when he killed Anthony Sears, because then he pledged guilty to the whole thing with the 13-year-old boy, and then he got 5-year probation and 1 year in House of Correction. And that's where they discovered that he had a schizoid personality disorder.
Oh.
And then, so he moved back in with grandma briefly, and then he moved back out with grandma, and then he brought, mind you, he brought the body parts with him.
When moving in, moving out.
Yep. Yeah.
Bro, how? Like, how did his grandma not?
It was in, I don't know.
Okay.
I think his grandma just tried to keep out of his business because
Grandma
she
didn't
knew,
even want to know.
She knew about him bringing boys home, and she
Yeah.
probably had an idea of him being gay, and she was very religious. So I feel
Oh.
like
Her
maybe-
homophobia kept her from discovering
and
his
she loved him
murder.
a lot. So I guess she just didn't want to
associate that with
Yes.
him.
Then within the first week of him moving in, he killed Raymond Smith, who was 32 at the time. He was a prostitute, and again, he drugged and strangled him.
That's the oldest victim so far.
Yes. The lore is no, never mind.
No.
But he bought this is where he bought a Polaroid camera to take pictures of the body, which he then did for the victims after this too, and he kept the skull again.
Oh man.
Then 1 month later, he killed. I find it important to mention all the names, so I will be doing that.
Yeah.
He killed Edward Smith, who was 27. Again, drugged and strangled.
Oh.
This is the first time he kept a body in the freezer for months, because
He had a freezer there?
in his own house.
Oh, in his own
he
house.
he moved out of his grandma's house.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then because he was trying to fix the whole skull issue that he had of the skull becoming too brittle. I know, diabolical sentence. It didn't work, by the way. He still had the same issue. He also found most of his victims at gay bars, which is interesting. Then another. Oh no, wait. Yeah, 3 weeks later, he killed Ernest Miller, who was 22 years old, who he drugged and then slashed his artery. He didn't strangle him because he wasn't asleep enough. He didn't administer enough sleeping pills.
I heard footsteps. I got
Girl,
scared.
we're in an apartment.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
people all around.
I know.
Then another 3 weeks later, he killed a dad of two, David Thomas,
Damn.
who was 22 years old, drugged, and strangled. What was interesting about this is that he said that he was
Gay?
attracted to
Oh,
most of his victims, but not this one. He just did it because he had the desire to, or some
okay.
nonsense. Yeah.
Okay, so pure murder this time. No
Yeah.
sexual connotations.
Yeah. And at this time, he had a 5-year probation sentence. So he was on probation. He was talking to a probation officer, and he did express to him that he felt alone and had suicidal thoughts.
Oh
But it's
man.
diabolical that he got away with this while being on
On
probation.
probation.
Then he killed Curtis Schroeder, who was 17 years old, drugged and strangled again. And then less than 2 months later, he killed Errol Lindsay, who was 19 years old. This is when he started experimenting on his victims because he was
How
trying.
what number victim is this? Like 10th?
I think it's 12, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken, but I
Okay.
could be wrong. But around that many. But he was trying to make them some type of like zombie, well, some type of submissive being that would do anything he said with no objection, like some type of like sex slave basically.
Yeah.
But he basically tried to
But brain dead as well, basically.
yeah, he injected hypochloric acid through the skull because he knew a lot about the anatomy and about bones and stuff because of his time in the army as well.
Oh, okay.
um so then because he did this on Errol Lindsay, then Errol woke up,
Oh,
um and then he drugged and strangled him because obviously these experience, like, it won't work. Like, girl.
girl.
By this time, neighbors had repeatedly complained about the smell coming from his apartment. And
I would move.
he would say that he had either he would say that something spoiled in his fridge, or he would say that he had dead tropical fish.
Dead tropical
Like, his
fish?
tropical fish died that he had
He
as
had he
pets.
had actual tropical fish.
No, he just said that because it smelled.
That's insane.
That's crazy. Um, then the same thing. He did the same, like, drilling
Oh, because it
acid.
probably also smelled fishy.
It just smelled like dead bodies.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's fishy.
I don't even want to know. I'm lucky enough not to know, and
Yeah, God
yeah.
bless. Then about a month after Errol Lindsay, he killed Tony Hughes, who was 31, another aspiring model, and he tried the same thing with the acid drilling in the head and stuff. Then this is the one that I wanted to, like.
This is number 14.
This is not number 14. I'm not certain. I think it's 14. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it's 14. But so he brought this 14-year-old.
Oh, again.
Mm-hmm. His name was Conorak Synthasum. I'm literally butchering this. Synthasum
You shouldn't
phone.
use the word butchery.
Oh hell no. Oh
You
hell no.
shouldn't.
His last name. You try to say this.
Girl, why me?
Synthasum phone.
That's so
Synthasum
fun.
phone. He was.
Okay. Conorak symphonie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the boy.
I'm so sorry for
We
mispronouncing this
have to
name.
keep it light.
Go ahead, go
All
ahead.
right. So basically, he brought him to his apartment, and then he drugged him, and he performed sexual acts like he did. Then he again drilled a narrow hole in his head and poured acetone in there.
What kind of DIY lobotomy is that? Like,
It's literally giving DIY lobotomy.
what?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it's crazy. So then he went and left to get more alcohol, which he did frequently. Then he came back very early in the morning. I don't know what he had been doing. He'd been, like, taking his time, I guess. Then he encountered Conorak outside of his apartment talking to 3 women who called the police because this man was naked and he couldn't really stand and he couldn't do anything.
Oh my god.
But he wasn't he wasn't bleeding or anything.
Oh man.
Yeah, and so the police came.
They actually did?
They did come,
Okay.
and they talked to the women who were like, "Hello, something is very clearly wrong here. Help." And then Dahmer said that it was his boyfriend who they got into a fight, and then
Not the 14-year-old being
he
his
said that he was 19. He
boyfriend.
said, "This is my 19-year-old boyfriend. We got into a fight. He drank a lot, and this is just how he gets." And then the police officers, they looked at him and they assessed him, and they did not see any blood, and they didn't see any signs of him being unwell. They went with Dahmer to his apartment to escort them back up, basically. They were very rude to those women, by the way, those police officers. They literally told them to shut up and stuff. Um, Mind you, in Dahmer's apartment, Hughes's body was still in there.
In the
The dead
freezer?
body. It was stored somewhere, yeah.
Oh my lord.
And then they went, but they, at first glance, I guess they didn't notice anything about the apartment. So they sent Conorak back in with Dahmer, and they told him to take good care of him. And then he killed him.
Oh right, yeah, police have been incompetent since, and they knew he was on probation. They
At
knew
this time, he wasn't on probation anymore, I think.
he still had a weird past.
Yeah, this is definitely a major mishap by police, especially because there was
Astronomical mishap.
3 women who were vouching for this boy. They didn't even check his ID. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't check that.
No
And
ID check, no alcohol check.
literally, and they just believed the man, which again, like, this is Fork Founding Kitchen, but it's still like crazy disturbing to say the
Yeah,
least.
but I think it's also because he told them like, yeah, this is my boyfriend and blah
Yeah,
blah.
probably. And also anything that had to do with um homosexual relations, even people who reported back when he was in the bathhouse drugging people and stuff, people were like, "Hey, I was raped by this guy," but nobody really took it seriously because they believed men couldn't be raped at the time. And obviously, like, homosexual relationships were very frowned upon, so people just didn't take anything seriously.
Except for when it was Jeffrey, I guess, because he said like, this is my boyfriend. Like,
True, but they just weren't, yeah, I guess.
I
But I
guess
mean,
because he's
the
older and
court didn't take anything. Like,
oh
they weren't going to convict. They weren't going to take this to court. It wasn't
no,
serious.
yeah.
Um so then this is not the end, by the way, because then a couple days later he killed Matt Turner, who was 20 years old at the time. He drugged him and strangled him. Then 5 days later he killed Jeremiah Weinberger, who was drugged twice, injected boiling water through his skull, sending him into a coma, from which he died 2 days later.
So we kept him like that for two
Yeah.
days.
He literally was showering with people in his bath because his drive to kill couldn't keep up with him. Like, he could not keep up with getting rid of the bodies and doing his experiments to the
More murder.
bodies.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Um then 10 days later he killed Oliver Lacey, who was 24, who was drugged and strangled. 4 days later he killed Joseph Brada Bradahoft, Braidhoft. Then later, Dahmer invited Tracy Edwards in to pose for nude photos. This was his last, like, almost victim, because he was able to escape and call the police, and thank god he still had the handcuff on his wrist, and the police could tell that it wasn't their handcuff because they couldn't unlock it with their keys. And then he was caught, and police came, and it was a huge happening in the media as well, because it was, some officer said that um it was, going through his stuff was not like assessing a crime scene and cleaning up a crime scene. It was more like dismantling someone's museum, because he's just stored body parts, and like, he
Yeah.
yeah, it
And there's a lot.
mhm. Um, and then he was what was it? I think he was arrested on 16 counts of murder. The one where he was blacked out, they didn't count that because there wasn't enough, like he didn't remember it, and it
Yeah.
was there was still a little bit of doubt about that. He
Okay.
pleaded guilty but insane, but then he was later declared sane. Um
Yep.
he when he was when he was on trial, he expressed that he just wanted to know what was wrong with him, which you could clearly tell in the tapes that he just wanted to know why he was the way that he was.
Yeah.
And so then they got his defense team got a really good psychologist or psychiatrist to talk to him, and then he was diagnosed with necrophilia, borderline personality disorder, schizotypical personality disorder, alcohol dependence, and a psychotic disorder. And he
Yeah.
was sentenced to life imprisonment without possibility of parole, and like 16 times. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the lore. Oh
That's
wait, by the way, no, that's not the lore. Because in prison, this
oh
is pretty
no
interesting.
way.
No, it's not like he didn't kill anybody in prison, but he like converted to Christianity. He became a Christian. He got baptized. He got baptized on the same day that John Wayne Gacy, who's another very famous serial killer that I'm sure we'll talk about someday, um, that he got sentenced to death. Like he got executed,
Oh my.
and there was a solar eclipse. All those 3 days happened. Three things happened on the same day,
Okay.
which is crazy.
That's a
Isn't that
bit
some yeah,
random.
but isn't that some type of like, I don't know, destiny or something?
I think it's a coincidence, but
I don't know. I don't know if I believe in coincidences as much.
okay.
Um
I think, by the way, I think it's very interesting how like a lot of people who are just bad and then later convert to a religion to become more moral or because they suddenly see the light. I think that the reason why religion helps them so much is because they do not have any morals themselves. They don't really have a sense of morality. But the religion provides it for them so they can kind of follow it and then have something to hold on to that makes them feel more normal. And this is, of course, not to say that all religious people are like that. I just think that people who are bad and then later convert to a religion experience that.
I mean, it would make sense. Um but yeah, he got killed in prison. Yeah, at first
Really?
he was in isolation, or at least not with other prisoners, because he was very heated in prison.
Oh,
But then he said he basically just like, I can't do this. Like I need to be around
people.
people. Like I'm going in. Like this is not good. And then they did tell him, they were like, hey, this is probably not going to be very good for you. And then he did say like I just do it, you know. And it was also reported that the guy, like, he did not resist when the
The
guy killed
murderer.
him. He just kind of let it happen.
So it was one man that
Yeah,
killed him?
yeah.
Okay. Do you know how old he was? Or how long he'd been in prison?
I don't know
Okay.
anything. The guy who killed him was called Christopher J. Scarver, and he was convicted to first degree intentional homicide, 3 counts.
Three
Yeah, and
counts.
then he was already sentenced to life imprisonment without
Mm.
parole.
Oh, okay. So he was like, might as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Jeffrey Dahmer lore. Also, which I don't really know where in what part of the story he did, but he did this, but he did drink um his you already know what I'm going to
The
say.
blood.
He drank the blood, and he like did create, like he would like cut up the body and like use it for
Mm.
sexual pleasure,
Yeah,
and he
the
would keep
skull,
the no,
right?
also just like
Other
cut the
parts.
body and like
Okay.
and he like kept the heart and stuff, and it was all, he said something about the fact that he made a shrine or something with his victims, like whatever body parts and stuff for himself, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's that.
Yeah.
All right. So
That was
that
a
was,
crazy story.
yeah. He was a crazy guy. So now we want to talk about the whole his Netflix show that has been out for a hot minute, Dahmer.
Dahmer. Oh, I remember the buzz about this when it
Mhm.
came out. Oh my god.
Yeah, so you want to kick it off or should I?
You should.
All right. So I did read some articles and um I found an interesting question that people asked was is giving serial killers, because this is not the first time a show has been made about a serial killer, is this giving a serial killer um a narrative, does that count as glorifying him?
So I think the answer to this question depends entirely on the show, like itself. Because a serial killer can definitely be glorified in a show, anyone can, but anyone can also be villainized. It just depends on how it is represented. And uh from what I remember about the discourse about this show is that everything he did was very much sexualized, glorified, um and almost made seem appealing because a lot of the audience, like I remember seeing thirst edits of Ross Lynch who played Jeffrey Dahmer like in the show
Yeah.
as Jeffrey.
Well, so I actually think it inherently does glorify the serial killers, because even though a show like this might be about um telling the victim's story,
Mhm.
there is no victim story without the killer.
Yeah.
So you have to get into the killer anyways.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you're already kind of glorifying him. Maybe you're representing him in a very bad light, but like
Yeah.
I feel like by portraying some serial killer in a show, you're just glorifying them regardless, because you're telling their story. You
Yeah.
might be telling the victim story, but it's their story too.
Okay, so by giving them basically giving them a platform, you're automatically glorifying them.
Yeah, I do think so, because there's always going to be people who find him attractive and who, I don't know, have crazy stuff to say. And it's, I don't know, I don't want to sit here and say shows like this shouldn't be made, because I also consume them and I also find them interesting, but I do know that um for example, I think people also said that Dahmer was glorified because there were a lot of shirtless scenes, which I
Yeah.
don't think are necessary. Like, why would you do that? Why would you make
Put them
him?
in.
Yeah, why would you make him seem like a good, like attractive? Like,
Yeah.
it just is not. That's not the place for that.
Yeah.
Also, by telling this story like this, you create a risk of um copycat behavior arising, because crazy people are out there and they can take this as inspiration.
Okay, I completely do see your point. I think that that is very important, but I do have a counterpoint because I don't know if you've seen the movie It from 2019. It's a movie about a clown who kills
I
people.
think I've seen it with our friend group.
Okay, well,
Did we not watch it at your house?
we might have. I don't remember. But anyways, there is a scene there where Beverly, a girl, is raped or attempted rape by her father. And that scene is extremely hard to glorify unless you are a very specific audience who is just sick and twisted and into that stuff. But the father is extremely like obviously not casted by as an attractive man. He comes up to her in such a creepy way. You can see real fear in her eyes, and it's not romanticizable because none of her like sexual aspects as a woman or a girl are being
Highlighted.
central, yeah, highlighted in that moment. And I think that, yes, no matter what show it is, people are gonna like there are gonna be people who romanticize it and who are interested by it and who might even take inspiration from it. But I think that if you represent it in a certain way, you definitely um, create a bigger audience who is repulsed by it and afraid of it and feels warned, and a way smaller, like maybe small minority who is like, oh, but this is interesting and I want to see more or whatever. And it, I mean, the thing is, Jeffrey Dahmer was portrayed as an appealing, interesting, literally conventionally attractive, sexy guy when he could have been an ugly.
Yeah, but this is not, if it was the tapes or some
Yeah.
documentary, then I feel like they would have done that. But since this is a show that's created
Yeah, a
for,
fictional show, yeah.
yeah, it's made to make money. A show with an
True.
ugly protagonist, that's very hard to watch because his actions, if you portray them in a way that's remotely similar to the way they were, that's not fun to watch.
No.
Nobody would want to watch that. So this was clearly made with an intention to entertain people and to keep people watching. And that's where the
True.
issue lies, because the tapes and any type of true crime thing is usually, obviously it's, they want to make it sensational for people, but there's rarely an attractive serial killer who's like, no, it's not glorified in any ways. I feel like true crimes are not easy to watch generally because they're factual
Yeah.
usually. And I feel like then that's an appropriate way to go about this stuff. I don't know if making
A
a sh-
fictional show.
yeah. Also,
Yeah, it's not a fictional situation, it happened, it's real. So
yeah, and also
it is inappropriate
they
to.
did not um they did not ask for the consent of the victims' families.
Yeah, and the victims' families even protested against this show and how it was represented because it was just disrespectful towards the victims and unfair to represent him in that way.
Yeah. And
I think
although
that's telling enough. Like
yeah.
that's enough.
And the second half of the show definitely refocuses away from Dahmer towards the victim. There's shows that, I mean, there's an episode where a specific victim is very, I think it was Tony Sears, who's very much the main guy, and it's all seen from his perspective, and he's being highlighted. But like I just said, you can't make a show about a serial killer, about victims of a serial killer telling their story without introducing and talking about the
The
killer
serial.
itself. That you can't do that, because that's not, then you only get half the story.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
I still think it is possible to create a fictional series where the main protagonist is not necessarily seen as an like appealing person and a good person or a person you can romanticize. For example, the series Adolescence on Netflix, I think it has become required viewing for some elementary schools in the UK. It is a very disturbing show, but if you watch this as a man or like as a boy or as a girl, it's literally a warning for what could happen to you or what you could become. And that would prevent a lot of unfortunate crimes against women and young girls these days, and also normalized treatment of just dehumanizing girls and
But is this movie
abusing them.
made
It's a
for
show.
is it show made with informative, with the goal of informing people?
Yeah.
See, but that's the difference, because
Yeah.
TV shows, fictional shows are
It is a
not
fictional show.
okay, but like this stuff is not
Highly
made.
unusual. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, like I said, true crime, that's made to inform people.
Mhm.
A show like this with actors in it like that, well known, attractive actors,
Yeah.
that's not made to inform people.
No. And I think that's completely wrong.
Yeah, I feel like,
Just sensationalizing and romanticizing and fictionalizing real events that have been extremely harmful, extremely dangerous, and should never should never be viewed in a positive light. I think that's
Mhm.
inhumane.
It is, and especially without asking the consent.
Yeah, that is actually insane.
Yeah.
And not doing anything about it when they
But would you
protest.
would you then say that shows like these shouldn't be made?
Yeah,
I would also say that. But it's cuz I did enjoy it, but then I would also say you could have made this a show about a fictional character.
exactly. I'm not saying it shouldn't be made. I don't think we should forbid it, but I think that people who make this are sick and twisted and weird. And I think it's dangerous that they are made. That's what
I
I want to
agree.
say.
I agree. I totally agree. And I feel like this could if you just made this about somebody who didn't exist, it would be a lot better because it would seem a lot more
Yeah.
unrealistic. And I cannot imagine being related to those victims and then having people on the internet making thirst traps.
Of the murderer.
Yeah. Or the guy that murdered your brother or whatever being portrayed in a very likable way and being
Attractive,
having
cool,
the murder of your relative or your friend or whatever be
reenacted.
portrayed in a more digestive way, in a more easy to watch way, because you know that's not how that happened. You know
Yeah.
that shit was hard to watch. And I will say some parts of the show are hard to watch, but it doesn't compare,
No, not at all.
obviously. So I feel like if you want to make stuff like this, it shouldn't be made. It shouldn't be made.
It
But
shouldn't
it
be
should
made,
definitely
period.
not be made to entertain people. That shouldn't be the intent. And also, like if you want to go this far, it should be borderline unwatchable.
Yeah, you should not be glossing over anything.
But I feel
And the
like
consent should be there from all the
yeah, but I
victims'
feel like it's
families.
just unrealistic.
Absolutely.
So just don't do it.
Don't do
There's
it.
so many things you could make a show about. Like
Yeah, but I also want to say that people have, like, also seen a lot of discourse about true crime in general, and how, for example, a lot of YouTubers literally make money off of just retelling horrific stories
yeah, but
about
I
real events that happen to people.
yes, and that part is debatable, but I do think true crime is a good thing if obviously you have good intentions, as with anything. But I find it very important. That's why I specifically mentioned everybody's name. I find it important that true crime exists because it does make it so that these stories don't die and these people are, remembered. And these
Mm-hmm.
stories are remembered because
Yeah,
people should be made aware and
yeah,
people should know what's out there. And obviously, I don't go around expecting everybody to be a serial killer, but be aware that they exist and that you should just be careful when doing
yeah,
anything. So I think obviously people making money, that's kind of I feel like that's all right. Obviously, it just depends on your intention. You shouldn't be telling
yeah,
these stories with the intention like, "Oh, I'm going to make a whole lot of
yeah,
money off of this." But I do think it's fair, you're giving your platform to these stories that are important to be told. You're telling these stories, you're giving them the light of day. I think it's kind of fair to be compensated for that a bit.
okay, yeah, yeah. I think that's yeah,
Do you
I
agree?
agree. Yeah, I think as long as you go about it respectfully and, like you said, mention every important detail, don't gloss over anything, because some creators do almost fictionalize
Yeah,
the
and that's
stories.
that's where it's kind of messed up.
Yeah, that is messed up, and also sometimes it happens too soon, too detailed, when
Yeah,
there's not enough knowledge about it yet.
that's also a
Um,
good one.
yeah, and but yeah, I agree. Like, mentioning the names is important, and knowledge is power. We should all be warned.
Truly.
We should all know about these stories.
Yeah, definitely. So on that note, stay informed.
Yeah,
We hope you enjoyed
yeah,
our Halloween special. Please go do something fun.
yeah,
Lighten the mood. We're about to do that. I
yeah.
hope I didn't traumatize you too
No, it's
much.
fine. It's fine.
Um
It's important to know this stuff.
exactly. Exactly. It is important to know and to keep in mind.
Yeah. Thankfully, we release this at 5 p.m. so you can just watch a little something and then go party with your friends.
Literally, go do something fun after this. Obviously, we mean this with respect
Yeah,
to the
to all of
families, to
the
the
victims and all of the families.
yeah. Um, we hope we conveyed it properly,
Yeah.
and obviously, we're just trying to shed light on these things and raise awareness.
So, guys, that was our special episode, Halloween edition, True Crime edition.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope you learned something from it. We would love to know your thoughts, so please don't hesitate to let us know if you disagree with any of what we said, if you know more facts,
Yeah,
if you can add on to this. If we missed anything, let us
please
know.
do.
Um, you can do that here in the comments on Spotify or YouTube, or you can also find us on Instagram and TikTok, afterhoursfm.podcast. It's also linked in the description.
We post a lot of behind the scenes
Yeah,
and
we
extra
do.
content on there, so it's pretty
Yeah.
fun.
And usually we are super lighthearted and just
Yeah.
don't discuss this type of stuff. But we thought it would be an interesting
Yeah,
special for Halloween.
I do love true crime. So I maybe we can incorporate some more. But we
Yeah.
will have to see.
Let us know if you would like to see that.
Yeah. Obviously After Hours FM on Spotify and YouTube. Um we release episodes every 2 weeks on Fridays.
At 5 p.m. CET. But we also have a radio show,
Mhm.
also every 2 weeks, on Tuesdays at from 2:30 till 4 p.m. CET. So yeah,
That's pretty fun. We talk about music, we play some music.
yeah,
And we're just again, we're pretty real and give our raw honest
yeah,
opinions on there
genuinely,
like we do, like we always do.
yeah. So that's way more lighthearted and just a lot more fun.
Yeah. So we'll see you there. We'll see you around.
Yeah, see you.
Bye.